again, everybody. Coach's Corner is back for another season, and it is almost football season. And as we have for the last few years, we always try to kick things off right here at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium. TISD Athletic Director Rod Kaspar is with us. We're in the brains, Rod, of the stadium. This is the control room for the magnificent scoreboard here that's now, I think, going into its, fourth year?
Fourth year, yes,
out
sir.
here at the stadium. So this is kind of where it all happens on Friday night.
Right, this is the nerve center of the stadium right here. Everything flows through here during the game time, and so it's a very important position.
Rod, as football season begins, it's always an exciting time for a number of reasons. It kicks off the school year, and it's not just about high school football, but girls volleyball starts off. They kind of have the same schedule really that the football guys do, so all that's kicking off right now.
Yeah, volleyball's already played the first scrimmage last weekend, so
okay.
It is up and running, and we're getting cross country going here pretty soon when school starts.
Right.
So it's a busy time of the year for the kids.
Yeah, make sure we give some love to the to all those other fall sports, because
right.
really the calendar in the fall is busy. Now, spring gets really busy at a number of levels, but the fall calendar is very busy. Just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have volleyball, like you said, and football, cross country, and then in October basketball starts. So we have a lot of the big sports are starting up and getting school going, and it's just a busy time for everybody.
Well, football, of course, is a huge deal in East Texas. Always has been and always will be. And, of course, last year at this time, we had almost an unprecedented situation. We had two brand new coaches at both schools, and I'm not sure that had ever happened before,
right.
At least not in my lifetime that I can remember, with Coach Piskey at Robert E. Lee and then Rick Holmes coming in at John Tyler. And, boy, what a season Rick had last year. Got all the way to the state semifinals.
Right, and, and for consolation, we got beat by the team and won it all. So, I mean, that kind of helps out there. But he had a real good team last year. He did a great job, and we were kind of disappointed we didn't get over that last hump. But we can't be too disappointed on the success we had.
Now, and Robert E. Lee, of course, had a tough first year under Coach Piskey, but I know that they're working awfully hard at Robert E. Lee. Got some great kids coming in, group of new coaches that he's brought in this summer. So a lot of good things happening at Robert E. Lee.
Right, and we're expecting some great things out of Coach Piskey. A lot of people didn't realize that last year when he went through spring ball, he didn't have his offensive coordinator here. He was still at his other position in the other school in another district. So he's had him here for a year. He's got some new coaches in now, and he's getting his philosophy and his expectations in. So, we're looking for a good year for Coach Piskey.
Let's start off with something that really is really cool, and I guess I'm amazed it had never been done before. But Tyler ISD has never had an athletic Hall of Fame,
right.
But we're about to get one.
Right, that's in the works. When I was working in another district, the idea came across our desk, and we kind of mulled it over and thought it'd be a great thing to do in the other district. And so when I brought it here, I was kind of like you. When I came here, I was surprised that we didn't have an athletic Hall of Fame here with the rich tradition of athletics that we have in Tyler. So I've been sitting on it for about a year trying to figure out exactly how I want to do it. So this year I put the things into motion, and we're going to go ahead and do one this year. We're looking for some nominations from the community to come in, and we got a committee together that is going to nominate and select the first class of the Tyler ISD Athletic Hall of Fame. We're looking for players. We're looking for ex-coaches. We're looking for teams that won state championship, and we're also taking a step further and going for the friends of the program, somebody in the community that has donated a lot of time, volunteered to the program, or affected the program in any way to make it better for the student athletes.
And just FYI, I mean, there's some great names out there. Of course, everybody knows, and I'm guessing I'd be willing to bet that Earl Campbell will probably be in that first class in some form or fashion. That a pretty safe bet,
yes,
you think?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
But, I mean, names like Emma Barrett, who brought track to John Tyler, and has a relays named after her. Tyler has produced 4 state football championship teams, one at the old Tyler High School. John Tyler's had 2. Lee's had 1. We've had a number of great college players, great pro players. We've had Olympic athletes come through Tyler Independent School District, and some great administrators. What do you think the number, have you given it any thought, that number that we're looking for that first year?
No, but, I think it's going to be a substantial class if we can, because I really think that we need to honor the people that, as you mentioned, Earl Campbell and Emma Barrett, the ones that are a lock, and then that'll open up the doors for the ones that need to be in there, but maybe have not gotten as much recognition as the other ones. And so, we're going to try to get it as balanced as we can.
And again, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to be in it this first year, because you want to spread it out.
Exactly.
Just if they don't get in this first year, doesn't mean that they won't be in.
Exactly.
We want to save some and not shoot all our bullets right off the get-go, right?
And we put a restriction on it. They have to be graduated from high school for 5 years. The state championship needs to be 5 years out too. So that kind of gives us a little buffer there to get enough teams in or whenever to kind of spread it out, like you said. One of the things I like to look at is the state championship teams and that we have. Maybe we can do it on the year that they're having a reunion of that class, and that would open it up to bring more people here and expose it out to the community. And so, there's little things we can do to tweak it to make it as good as we can. But like I said, the tradition of Tyler ISD and its athletics, not only its athletes but its coaches and its teams, this is just a no-brainer on our end.
Which, by the way, just as an FYI, this is the 40th anniversary this year of John Tyler's 1973 state championship team, which of course was led by Earl Campbell, but had 7 guys, to my knowledge, on that team that visited in one way or the other were in pro camps.
Right.
All the high school football, college football stars that came out of that. So just a little hint that this is the 40th anniversary of that team. So there might be a fair to middling chance that they could be recognized as a group then, right?
That's a possibility, yeah.
All right, and again, administrators, a lot of great ones. So again, we want to talk a little bit about just the idea that you had to bring that in. How are we going to honor? How will they go about being honored?
We're going to honor them at the John Tyler Robert E. Lee ball game.
Okay.
That's Friday the 13th. Good night. But what we will do is we will present them with a plaque.
Okay.
And we're also going to have another plaque that we're going to put on display here in the press box.
Okay.
And we'll also give them a medal to wear, and they can have that honor, and we'll have some little talk about each one of the individual when they're introduced at halftime before the game, whenever we decide to do it. So we're going to make it a celebration. We wanted to recognize the people that got the TISD athletic program to this point. And it's just going to be a great celebration.
And going forward, and again, for several weeks, it's been available on tylerisd.org, the website, the nominations, and that will be one way going forward next year that you'll continue to do that at a certain point. Will you leave it open all year long for people to nominate?
Yes, it's going to be up there all the whole time. I know the paper ran they ran the nomination form.
Right.
You've talked about it on your radio show, so we want to get the word out as much as we can. And yes, it's going to be a year-round deal that we'll leave it on the website, so anybody wants to fill one out, maybe they're in town for a little bit and they hear about it and they want to go ahead and do it, or they live out of town, they can go on the website and take it, send it in to me, and I keep a file of it, and we'll get the committee together once or twice a year, and especially twice or 3 times before we go into the final selection deal and get all the selection together.
And because the reality is, people, over the years, Tyler ISD's been operating for a long time. People get forgotten.
Right.
You don't mean to, but people get overlooked, and that's why we need to be reminded occasionally of who's contributed so much to making this what it is.
Right, and this, I want to say this, it is the Tyler ISD Athletic Hall of Fame, but it's really the Community Hall of Fame. We want the community to come out, and we want them to nominate and celebrate the people that they feel that needs to be in there, and it's going to be a daunting task for the committee, because, there's going to be some people that maybe on this first vote don't get in, and people are going to wonder why. Well, like you said, we're going to have to spread it out over the years to make sure we have enough nominees for each year. But I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a great thing for the district.
All right, talking specifically about football, because the first games on August 30th are both road games for the 2 Tyler high schools. Lee's at Sulphur Springs and John Tyler is at Lufkin. But that next week is it the 5th, 6th, and 7th?
Yes, sir.
Here at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium, the Trinity Mother Frances Kickoff Classic,
which
is always a good deal. We're about a decade old now, or something along those lines, and it's been a great one. What's the lineup?
3 great games this year. We kick off on Thursday night, the 5th, between White House and Chapel Hill.
That's a great Lake Tyler rivalry.
Right, and it's a great rivalry, but I think there's a little bit added to it this year is, a lot of people are picking White House not only to win the 4A district here, but to go deep in the playoffs and possibly have a chance to win the state championship. And, I think Chapel Hill's 2 years removed from winning the state championship. And like you said, when you get those tradition-rich communities coming in here. It's going to be a great ball game. It's going to be a packed house. I'm excited about it.
Not only is that a fun rivalry, but something that, looking on down the road, what's really become in a short period of time, because White House and John Tyler haven't been in a district together that long, but that rivalry has become they've had some shootouts in the district.
And it's a great deal because it's the last game of the season. And if you remember last year here at Rose Stadium, the district championship was on the line.
And White House jumped out to a big lead.
And John Tyler came back and won in a shootout, and it was a great ball game for everybody involved. So I'm looking forward to that game again this year. All
right, so you got the White House Chapel Hill game on Thursday the 5th.
Right.
Then on Friday night the 6th, Robert E. Lee is here against good old Lufkin.
Lufkin, right. And, that's a good ball game. That's one of those old rivalries that you hear about, the Lufkin, John Tyler, Robert E. Lee, Longview group. So I'm anxious to see what's going to happen. This is Coach Quick's second year in Lufkin, so I think he's going to bring a quality ball club in here that's going to provide a great game for Robert E. Lee and the fans that decide to come.
Lufkin's been here so much, even they played a couple of playoff games during their state championship year. Coach Outlaw, of course, tragically passed away a year and a half ago, and Coach Quick both have called this stadium Abe Martin North for a long time because they played here so much over the years that this has sort of been a second home for them.
And we enjoy them coming up here and playing. We
don't want to be too hospitable.
No, not too hospitable, but during the playoffs, we'd love to have them back and be a visitor.
Yeah, and again, that game is on a Friday night. Then on Saturday, another little rivalry, John Tyler and Lancaster.
Right.
They played one heck of a ball game last year at Lancaster in non-district.
Right, and John Tyler lost in the last few minutes of the ball game, and so I think that John Tyler's going to come out with a chip on his shoulder this year and try to get that victory back. But Lancaster's got some great athletes, so it's going to be a good ball game and a good test for all of us.
Now they went on. Did they win state?
They got in the semifinals.
Got the semifinals. But they had a deep playoff run last year, just like JT did.
Sure did.
And they've got a lot of athletes, and there was just kind of a mutual respect, but also dislike for each other, which is fun in a football game.
Exactly
I guess, right.
Yeah, right.
All right, so that's the lineup. Then on the 5th, you've got White House and Chapel Hill. On the 6th, you've got Robert E. Lee and Lufkin. On the 7th, on Saturday night game, you've got JT and Lancaster here. And again, how the tickets, again, the great deal about this is that one ticket will buy you all three football games.
Right, and we had those to sell in the office, athletic office, just come by, but it's probably the best deal in the state of Texas. You can see 3 great ball games for $10.
$10.
And so that's less than $3 a game, or right at $3 a game. So, it's a great place to come, and I know we have a lot of people coming in on Thursday night games because there's a lot of games going on, and then Saturday game too. So I'm anxious to get it going. I'm excited. I know the coaches are too, but if anybody wants tickets, just get in touch with the athletic office and we'll get you lined up.
Tell us a little bit about the stadium here. Now there has been a ton of work done here at the stadium. There's been campus work,
right,
a little bit of facelift work here in the press box, but just an overview of Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium. People ask me all the time, what's the seating capacity, for instance?
About 12,000. Give or take, here and there. We always say 12,000, and I know there's a couple times last year that we were near capacity, especially the White House John Tyler game. It was standing room only. That's probably the biggest crowd I've ever witnessed here since I've been here. But, it's just a great atmosphere. We've upgraded the turf. Turf's a year old. We've got our video board. So I think we offer a unique situation here at the Rose Stadium for people to come in and play, and it's just a great atmosphere. And we're located centrally, so there's a lot of teams that want to come here and play for playoff games, and so that's always exciting for us.
Now, of course, every year there's a coaching turnover. Assistant coaches come and go, and you get some of that, but there's really been an exciting new position added at both high schools this year. For the first time ever, both schools now employ a strength coach. Strength
and conditioning coach, yes. That's something that, Coach Piskey and Coach Holmes and I talked about, and we're lucky enough that the board and the administration decided to go ahead and add that position. So we've hired a strength and conditioning coach on each campus, which I think is going to level the playing field for those 2 high schools with all the other schools. I know, Longview's had one for a couple of years now, and so that's just going to get us to the point where it's going to make our athletes bigger, faster, and stronger. We're not going to only focus on football. It's going to be every sport, off season and during the season. We're going to have a program for them that they're going to lift during the season and during the off season, so we can hopefully get our athletes to the point where we're more compatible than what we have been in the past.
What about scheduling? I know even at the middle school level, with budgets like they are, you guys have to be very, very careful with how you spend the money. Has there been a change in the way scheduling has been done over the past couple of years?
No, I mean, it's just kind of a shot in the dark when it comes to districting. John Tyler's been very lucky to stay in East Texas, so our scheduling hadn't been that bad. A lot of people don't want to play him, though, so that's where he's had to go to Lancaster and some of the other games. But then, with Robert E. Lee, we're always going to be connected, I believe, to the Mesquite District,
right,
Rockwall and Longview, depending on where they fall. So, you just got to kind of see where our district's going to be lined up, and then you try to fill in the games. I know that, one of the games I talked to Coach Pisky about that I like to see scheduled would be a Robert E. Lee White House game. Mm-hmm. I think that would be a great rivalry game, too, once we had a chance to build it up. So, we look at the teams in this area that we have an opportunity to play and see if we can get some things going and try to schedule it that way.
At the middle school level, though, the local teams were traveling for a while.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They're more or less now just playing each other.
Right. We've gone to an in-district, in-town schedule. When I came here, we had kids going to Longview, Lufkin,
right,
Corsicana, Nacogdoches, all those places. And, you'd leave on a Tuesday or Thursday night during a school night, and sometimes they wouldn't get back to 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So we kind of take a look at it, and we decided we're going to go district inside Tyler city limits, and it works out real well. We have 6 teams, and so, we always have 3 games going somewhere in the gyms or on the field or whatever, and gives our kids a chance to get home by 7:30 at night,
right,
and have well rested and get their homework done for the next day. It's good.
Right. There's also campus improvements going on, both Lee and John Tyler. Now, a year ago, when the Emma Barrett relays, Earl Campbell Emma Barrett relays were moved from here at the stadium, and you did soccer here, the relays were actually moved to the campus.
Right.
And some improvements were made at John Tyler. This summer, you've been able to do stuff at both campuses,
right,
have you not? Tell me about what you've done.
Last year, John Tyler, we went in and we upgraded the bleachers. We've expanded the seating capacity. We added an extra lane to the track to make it an 8-lane track so we could hold the relays there. And we also upgraded the lighting there, which made the field a lot brighter when we played the games over there, sub-varsity games. This year, the board has approved to take some extra money that they had and put in a artificial turf practice field at both high schools.
Yeah.
So that's a tremendous amount of leveling the playing field, because now we have an actual field that we can play on in any weather, or practice in any weather. Whereas if before, when it was rainy and muddy, we couldn't get the kids out there. It would tear up the field. So now we have the 2 turf fields. At Robert E. Lee, we're going back. We're expanding the seating capacity there. We're also going to add a new concession stand and new restroom facilities, plus we're going to upgrade the lighting. So both of them are going to mirror each other, and it's going to be a real nice situation for both campuses.
And just so people know, that money came from what was saved, did it not, in the past bond elections?
From the past bond election.
But just because the construction had been so on time and even ahead of schedule,
right,
and the money has been used to the point that there was a surplus, that you've been able to do stuff like that when needed, right?
Right, and that money was also used to upgrade the science labs at both high schools.
Right.
Plus, they redid the bathrooms at both high schools. So it just wasn't all thrown into athletics. It was spread out across the campuses, and so I think it worked out good for everybody.
And part of that also, I think the new fencing, the new security fencing around Robert E. Lee was all part of that.
Right,
same
yes.
thing, right?
Right. We're going to have better security at Robert E. Lee. It'd be just like it was at John Tyler, or it is at John Tyler. So, we've made some great improvements on both campuses, and I think the people are going to be happy with them once they get finalized.
Well, and so that's good stuff, because, again, the bulk of the time's not spent out here.
Right.
I mean, it's
exactly
stadium.
Right.
I mean, the time is spent, the work's done on the campuses, and then they come out here for their fun. That's the Friday night game.
Friday night games.
All the sweat, blood, sweat, and tears are on campus. Make that environment good. It'll help everybody. It'll raise the level for everybody. For instance, soccer uses that field on campus a lot to practice, and everybody.
Right, yeah, and you can look at the band's going to be able to use it, the cheerleaders going to be able to use it, the drill team can use it, the PE classes will be out there, they'll be able to use it. Even during the spring when we start baseball and it's rainy, the baseball guys can go out there and play catch and hit some grounders on it. So it's going to be a multi-use facility. It's just not for football. It's going to be for the whole campus, and I think everybody's going to get great use out of it.
Let's talk a little bit about some issues that are affecting Texas high school athletics. I know there's been a rule made this year. Practice times have really now very much controlled. How much? Can you explain a little bit about what the guys are dealing with?
The big rule is that UIL passed a resolution that says you can't have more than 90 minutes a week of tackling practices. And, everybody kind of thought that was a big deal, but if you stop back and look at it and you talk to the coaches are okay with it because they basically had that already implemented in their practices. There's not a lot of times that you really go out there and go full blast tackling like you have a ball game because, one, you don't want to worry about injuries. And so I think our coaches are going to adjust to that okay, and there's not going to be a concern that everybody thought it was. And, it's a safety aspect that we're looking at to protect our kids, and as well as I do that the big thing now is concussions and watching the kids, and so we take that hard tackling, full impact scrimmage out of it, or limit to 90 minutes a week. Hopefully, those injuries will cut down. We'll see less of that.
I went to Big 12 media days and listened to some of the administrator, the main coordinator of officials with the Big 12, talk a little bit about head injuries because that is a huge, as you said, a huge emphasis now in trying to prevent that. And at the pro level, it's filtered all the way down to the high schools. If a kid leads with his head, the crown of the helmet, that is a big-time no-no now in football, right?
Yes, sir. And, and that's what's good about spring ball. That's where the coach can actually teach the correct way to tackle and not to lead with the crown of your head, and that way we'll cut down on those injuries because, once you get to 2 days, you're really looking at, they started today, and a week from Friday, they're going to have their first scrimmage. So you're talking 12, 14 days to get everything in. So you don't want to say that you don't teach the proper techniques, but it's probably not as big as the practice sessions as it is in spring ball. So, you got to make sure your coaches teach them, do the right thing, and protect the kids, and that's what we're looking at. And, and there's several programs out there that we're going to take a look at about the concussions that we might be involving our kids in, so we make it safer for them.
This time last year, budgets were a big deal. People were talking about there were even school districts in the Metroplex who were cutting back on the numbers of teams. That's never been an issue here. We've kind of always in this district tried to operate kind of lean and mean every night.
Right. You're exactly right, and we've been very blessed. We haven't made major cuts in our budgets, but we try to keep it status quo the way it's been the last several years.
To my knowledge, no teams have been lost.
No teams have been lost, no. And in fact, the good thing about it on the middle school, sometimes we had to add an extra team because you have an overflow of kids, and you don't want to cut too many kids on the middle school level in any sport because you want to keep them going until high school.
What school? There's always talk every year about maybe adding sports. Is there any talk right now about adding varsity sports at the high school level?
No, nobody's approached me on it. I would think that if we ever got to a point where we're going to take a look at adding a sport, it'd probably be wrestling. Because that would be a sport that we could get more kids involved. But as of right now, I think we're at a pretty good position in our sports that we have our campuses, so we're not going to add any.
You and I have talked about this before, but just kind of talk a little bit about, in your opinion, as athletic director, just an overall, what do athletics, what purpose do athletics serve at the level beginning in middle school all the way up through high school?
Well, I think it serves a big purpose, and one of the reasons why I say that is because you have the no pass, no play rule. You got to keep those kids eligible if they want to play, and I think that's a big shock to the seventh graders when they come in. They think it's a lot like sixth grade, and they don't really, they're enthused about athletics. Maybe academics is not important until they get that first report card and they realize that they're ineligible and can't play, and then it kind of gives them a wake-up call. But it teaches them team play, organization, learn how to be a part of a program and be successful in that program. So I think it does a lot to walk along the same lines as academics, and we go hand in hand to make sure our kids are going to be successful, not only in the classroom but also on the academic athletic fields.
This is a realignment year coming up next February. There will be every 2 years the biennial realignment. You see any changes?
I'm kind of, the big change is UIL is going to bump everybody up. So next year, the 4A will actually be 5A, and 5A will actually be 6A. So
6A,
what we did, and what they did, they added six-man football to be the 1A, and everybody bumped up the deal. I'm excited to see what the 5A is going to look like because they're going to raise the numbers, and there's always that talk about Longview being a 4A, 5A team, and
which they have been before. They were bumped down.
And I would really like to see us get back to the Longview, John Tyler, Nacogdoches, Marshall, White House district. I think that would be a strong district. It'd be great for the football fans. I kind of like to get a district of doom like they have in 3A over there. Like I said before, I think Robert E. Lee will stay in the Mesquite area with the Mesquites and the rock walls, and then if Longview drops out, I don't know if we'll add anybody. It just depends on where the numbers fall.
So you don't see any time Robert E. Lee and John Tyler in the foreseeable future being in the same district?
Not in the next 2 years, no, I don't. I think we're going to have to get the population at John Tyler up a little bit. They were 1,800 this last year, and so I don't think that the district will drop. I mean, the numbers will drop that low.
Right, and Lee's about 26 or 27.
26,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a big difference. That's a big difference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, those are some of what other issues, just overall issues right now that are going on in Texas high school football that
Well, I just think we're talking about the playoffs, so it's all going to be back at Cowboy Stadium again this year,
right.
AT&T Stadium, and I think that's great for the fan base. I know that they talked last year that for the 5A, the last two games of the night on that Saturday night, there was over 59,000 people that attended. So it gives everybody an area that they can go and watch and enjoy great sports. And so I just think that athletics as a whole in the state of Texas is on the upswing. I think everybody looks to Texas to see what move that we're making and what we're doing. We kind of set the pace for the whole country, in my opinion. And so
right.
I'm excited about everything going, and especially here on the local level. We've had great success in volleyball, and both teams made the playoffs last year, and I expect it happening again this year. Basketball, we had 3 out of our 4 teams to make playoffs, and so we had some state championships in track, and soccer went to playoffs. And so I think it's a great time to be in Tyler ISD athletics. We're very successful, and we continue to go ahead and make it available for our kids to be successful. And with the strength and conditioning coach and the new practice fields on campus and the upgrades, I think that we've set the tone for our kids to be really successful.
All right, that's Rod Kaspar, and again, it's the first edition of Coach's Corner. Of course, the coaches themselves coming up each week to talk about the upcoming game and look back at the previous ball game. Just a couple of quick notes as we wrap it up. The first TISD Athletic Hall of Fame is coming up. They'll be announced on at the Robert E. Lee John Tyler or John Tyler Robert E. Lee game, depending on your point of view. The game on September 13th here at the stadium. That should be a lot of fun. And don't forget the Trinity Mother Francis Kickoff Classic on September 5th. Here, that's a Thursday night. It'll be White House and Chapel Hill on September 6th, Friday night. Robert E. Lee and Lufkin, and then on Saturday night, September 7th, JT against Lancaster. Lancaster against John Tyler in the cap-off game of what should be a really, really fun weekend. For Rod Kaspar, TISD's Athletic Director, I'm Bill Coates. Thank you for joining us.